14 hours. That is how long you have been kneeling in the Baron's eastern field. Your hands are the color of wet earth. The cold stopped being a feeling 6 hours ago. It is just the shape of your bones now. You own 2 garments, a coarse wool tunic that smells of wood smoke, leather shoes that let the mud touch your bare heels. You chew on a bitter root to trick your stomach. It doesn't work. Your father died in this same mud 3 winters ago. He left you a debt to the estate overseer, 4 copper pennies, a rounding error to the men riding past on horses. To you, it is a wall. The overseer walks down the furrow. He carries a heavy ash stick. He doesn't strike people, he just points. He points at the man beside you. The man is coughing, a wet, hollow sound. Go, the overseer says. The man loses his daily ration of oats. He will likely starve by Sunday. First rule, sickness is a luxury. You grip your trowel harder. You straighten your back. You need the overseer to see that you are a tool that is not dulled. Usefulness is the only shield you have left. The overseer stops. His shadow falls over your freezing hands. You do not look up. You keep digging. You wait for the stick to point at you. Instead, you hear the quiet creak of his leather belt. The keep's kitchen needs an ash sweeper, he mutters. Warm floor, half a loaf a day, no mistakes allowed. You stare at the frozen dirt. Inside the keep, the punishments are not done with ash sticks. They are done with iron. You belong to the stone entirely. But there is a fire. You drop the trowel. Now, the cold is gone. It is replaced by a wall of blistering heat. The keep's kitchen is a cavern of noise, grease, and screaming. You sleep on the hearthstones. They are hard, but they are dry. You eat half a loaf of rye bread at dawn. It is stale. It is the best thing you have ever tasted. Your job is simple. Keep the ashes cleared from the 3 massive roasting pits. 14 hours a day, you shovel gray dust. Your eyebrows have singed off. Your hands are covered in blistered burns from stray coals. The other servants ignore you. You are lower than the dogs that turn the spits. But you are inside. Second rule, invisibility is safety. You sweep. You watch. You learn the rhythm of the room. You learn that the head cook, a massive man with a scarred neck, favors his bad left knee. You learn the exact temperature of a fire by the color of its smoke. You do not speak. You do not complain. For 2 years, you are nothing but a shadow with an iron shovel. Then, the reality sets in. The heat is ruining your lungs. You cough black phlegm into a rag. The mud was a slow death, but the ash is killing you faster. You cannot stay at the bottom of this room forever. The boy who turns the main spit falls asleep. The massive slab of venison stops rotating. The meat begins to blacken. The head cook is at the other end of the kitchen. He doesn't see it yet. You are 3 feet away. If you touch the spit, you cross your station. A beating from the cook is likely. If the meat ruins, the Baron will punish the entire kitchen. The fat drips. The fire flares higher. You grab the iron handle. It sears your palm instantly. The smell of your own burning skin mixes with the roasting meat. You force your arm to move. 1 full rotation. The fat drips safely into the pan. A heavy hand twists into your tunic. You are thrown hard against the flagstones. The head cook stands over you. He raises a wooden mallet. You do not flinch. You point at the fire. The boy who was supposed to be turning the spit is still snoring. The venison is perfectly browned. The cook looks at the spit. He looks at your blistered hand. He lowers the mallet. He kicks the sleeping boy awake and throws him out into the frozen courtyard. You turn the meat now, the cook growls. It is not a reward. It is a terrifying shift in responsibility. If the meat burns now, it is your hide. But the math changes. The ash pit gave you half a stale loaf. The spit gives you the drippings. Third rule, proximity to the resource is more valuable than the resource itself. You wrap your hand in a tallow-soaked rag. For 3 years, you turn the handle. You watch the merchants bring supplies to the back door. You learn the price of rye. You learn that salt is guarded closer than silver. You are ordered to clean the heavy roasting pans. The other servants throw the burnt crusts to the dogs. You do not. You scrape them meticulously. You dry the scrapings. It is concentrated salt, fat, and marrow. You hide it in a small leather pouch. One winter night, The cellar master drops a small crate of the baron's root vegetables in the mud, ruining them. He is weeping. The steward will whip him at dawn. You have your pouch. You know what preserved fat is worth to a desperate man. You step into the lantern light. You hold out the pouch. You don't ask for copper. The head cook would just beat it out of you. You ask for a new master. The cellar master takes the fat. He mashes the ruined roots. He folds in the salted marrow. The steward eats the mash and calls it a delicacy. The cellar master keeps his skin. You leave the kitchen. You enter the deep earth. The cellar is freezing, but it is a dry cold. It smells of oak casks, aged cheese, and curing salt. Your lungs finally clear. Your burn scars turn to silver lines. You are a tally boy now. Fourth rule, the man who counts the resource is closer to power than the man who creates it. Time shifts. You do not measure days by hunger anymore. You measure them by shipments. You learn to read the merchant's chalk marks on the barrels. You learn the weight of winter grain. You learn that trust is built in ounces, over years. 4 years pass in the quiet dark. You have a heavy woolen coat. You have a cot in the corner that belongs only to you. You have a locked box for your boots. You are comfortable. Comfort is a dangerous illusion. The Merchant Guild delivers 50 casks of salted cod on a Tuesday. You tally them. You check the steward's master ledger. The ledger says 60. You count again. 50. It is not a mistake. The steward is altering the numbers. He is skimming the baron's wealth. The steward is the second most powerful man in the keep. He is the man who approved your transfer. He can have you hanged before the sun sets. You are standing alone in the dark. You are holding the piece of chalk. You write 60. The chalk dust settles on your boots. Fifth rule, never correct a powerful man who is making a fatal mistake. You know the steward is stealing. You also know he will eventually be caught. If you expose him now, his thugs will drown you in the moat. If you blindly follow him, you will hang beside him when the baron's men find the rot. So you build a second ledger, not on paper, in your memory. You track the phantom grain, the missing wool, the ghost timber. You spend 8 months carrying this invisible weight. It is heavier than the ash shovel ever was. Winter arrives. The keep gates open. The baron's chief magistrate rides in with 4 armed guards. The audit is unannounced. The cellar is suddenly full of torches and cold armor. The steward's hands shake as he hands over the master ledger. The magistrate reads the first page. He stops. He compares it to the guild tax seals. A vein pulses in his jaw. He turns to the steward. Then he turns to you. You are just a shadow in a wool coat. You count the stock, the magistrate says. His voice is flat, dangerous. Tell me exactly how many casks of salted cod are stacked against the far wall. The steward stares at you. It is a silent promise of a knife in the dark. The magistrate waits. It is a promise of a noose in the light. This is not about fish. This is a test of who owns your obedience. 50, you say. Your voice does not shake. The steward screams as the guards drag him away. You do not watch. You keep your eyes on the chalk. The magistrate hands you the master ledger. You are the new steward. The change is absolute. You have a private chamber, a heavy oak door with an iron lock. You sleep on a mattress stuffed with goose down. You wear dyed wool. You eat roasted fowl. But the fear does not disappear. It only changes shape. When you were a peasant, you feared the frost. Now, you fear the math. Sixth rule. Power is just a heavier chain. You manage 3 villages, 2 mills, and 400 souls. You ride a gray gelding through the eastern field, the exact mud where your father died. The men look up from their trowels. They look at you with the exact hollow terror you once felt. You realize something cold. You are the stick now. You work relentlessly. You rotate the crops. You squeeze the traveling merchants for better silver weight. Over 7 brutal years, you double the estate's yield. You have a heavy iron box of your own coins hidden beneath your hearth. Then, a courier arrives at midnight. He carries a parchment sealed with black wax. The baron is marching to a border war. He demands 400 pounds of silver by the new moon. You check the vaults. The estate only holds 200. If you fail, the baron will not just dismiss you. He will execute you for incompetence. You sit alone by the fire. The numbers do not work. Do you starve the villages to raise the silver, or do you dig up your own hidden floorboards? You leave the floorboards nailed shut. If the Baron learns his steward possesses a private hoard of silver, you will not be dismissed. You will be quartered. Survival means someone else pays the price. You ride out at dawn. You order the winter granaries emptied. You seize the spring seed corn. You collect the copper pennies from the villages. You listen to the weeping in the mud. It sounds like rain. You tune it out. It is just math now. Years pass. The Baron dies in the war. You serve his son. You are a lord of the estate now. You wear a heavy velvet cloak. You sleep in a high stone chamber with a roaring fire, but you do not sleep well. The invisible ash still coats your lungs. The burn scars on your palms ache when it snows. The fear of losing everything wakes you in the dark. Comfort never feels permanent. On a freezing morning, you ride your gray gelding through the eastern field to inspect the planting. A boy is kneeling in the furrow. His tunic is coarse wool. His bare heels are sinking into the frost. He is chewing on a bitter root to trick his stomach. He looks up at your horse. His eyes hold that exact, hollow terror, the fear of a broken tool waiting to be discarded. You look down at him. You feel the weight of the silver ring on your thumb. You feel the thick ash wood of your riding crop in your fist. Seventh rule: there is no escape from the mud. You only change which end of the stick you hold. You don't feel pity. Pity is a luxury for men who have never starved. You simply point the crop at the boy. Dig, you say. The balance is settled. You survived.